Hey guys, welcome to the Legendary Arcade Stick series. Today, I am here with the Hori Real Arcade Pro series, specifically the original design and body for the PlayStation 2, Xbox 360, and PlayStation 3. Let's get going. Fight! Alright guys, so the Hori Real Arcade Pro. Now, there was the Pro 1, there's the Pro 2, the Pro 3, and then they went and changed body styles for the Pro 4, the Pro 5, and there's the VLX series. Now, we're gonna talk about the HRAP or the Hori Real Arcade Pro 1, 2, and 3 up to the PS3 360 generation because all of those body styles are the same. In fact, all the plates can change and all that kind of stuff. You can mix and match even for most of the stuff. Right off the bat, guys, I gotta say that the body style of these are awesome. It's one solid piece of plastic. There's no creaking. There's a solid metal top plate. I mean, this thing is built sturdy and there's plenty of room inside for modding or really whatever you wanna do. So this is the original release, which has the reflective kind of dark mirror art, the Hori Real Arcade Pro 1. Let's call this version A. And the reason they actually changed this and did a re-release of the Hori Real Arcade Pro, which is the more common textured gray art, call it version B, was because that this thing, while it does look cool, it picks up everything. Fingerprints, dust. I mean, I literally just cleaned this thing and there's already dust back on it. Now this one here is obviously not stock. I've swapped out the Hori buttons for Samitsu, and I've swapped out the Sanwa JLF for a Samitsu LS32. I've also added a bat top, which I'm not a big fan of on Japanese style sticks, but I wanted to give it a shot. Now it's important to know that the Hori Real Arcade Pros during this period did come standard with Sanwa JLF joysticks, with the exception of the SE or Special Edition models, in which case you got a Samitsu LS56 or LS32. As for the buttons, unless the sticks were designated with the SE or SA edition, they came with Hori style buttons. Now they're not terrible, they're basically Sanwa knockoffs for the time. Good news though is that they are 30 millimeters, and in most cases they're not soldered to the PCB, so it's very easy to replace those. You do get a start button, you get a select button, your turbo area here. The original version had a button layout that was arced like this all the way across, kind of like the Konami Hyper Stick. A lot of sticks had this, and the L1 and the L2 is mapped to the inside. Now, I really like this kind of button layout because you do traditionally play on these 6 here, but you can even do a Neo Geo game and map them to all 4 across. The cool thing about this stick is that it came with what I'm calling a universal mounting bracket. This bracket allows you to mount just about any kind of Japanese style joystick lever you can think of. That includes the Sanwa JLF, the Samitsu LS56, the 55, and most importantly, the larger Samitsu levers such as the LS32, which I'm a big fan of. Version B, or the second release, has a limited mounting bracket, which pretty much accommodates the Sanwa JLF or similar mounting joysticks such as the LS55 or 56. Now, because there isn't just an easy rule that you can follow to know what stick has what bracket, I went ahead and made a chart for you guys that shows all of the Hori Real Arcade Pros and which ones have the universal mounting bracket. One thing I wanted to mention about these sticks is that a lot of their parts are interchangeable. So you can take a plate from the Hori Real Arcade Pro 1 and put it on a Hori Real Arcade Pro 3, and all of a sudden you have this button layout with a modern day stick that has the home button and turbo button and all that stuff that you have up here. That's the cool thing about this series, is that you can mix and match parts. All right, so here is the special addition of the Hori Real Arcade Pro 1. Now, this is gonna be a fairly consistent thing across the Pro 1, Pro 2, Pro 3, where they came out with a special addition and sometimes a special edition. Now, if it's a special edition with the E, basically it means that they used all Famitsu parts. If it's a special addition, it typically means they used all Sanwa parts. But for the SA or Sanwa edition, you get actual Sanwa buttons as well as your Sanwa JLF joystick. Now these are not the stock colors. I changed the stock colors, which I think looks really cool because it matches the turbo area. You can see that they changed the button layout to more of like a Sega one player layout, which feels great. And they moved the L1 and the L2 to the outside. You can also see here, I have Arts Hobbies Tech Innovations mod so that you can access the top plate by just unscrewing him from the top instead of that huge pain in the ass of having to unscrew the back and then unscrew the bolts from these guys. So it's a really solid piece. But again, these ones are quite rare. So let's move on now to the Hori Real Arcade Pro 2s. All right guys, so the Hori Real Arcade Pro 2. This is the SA edition that I must say might be my favorite out of all the Hori Real Arcade Pros. It just has such a unique look, that white body with the baby blue color and the gray. It just looks so great. And the top plate is kind of unique because it has a darker gray than any of the other Hori Real Arcade Pros made. It also comes with all Sanwa parts, Sanwa buttons, Sanwa JLF, a really nice button layout, and it has that universal mounting bracket, which is cool. You notice here, they finally added the ability to access the top plate stock. These are the stock screws, so they're just Allen wrench keys, and you unscrew those, and you can just pull this top plate right off. You wanna, change anything to your PCB or change out the buttons. These again, as they were with all of them, are stock 30mm size, so you can swap them out for Famitsus or Sanwas or whatever you want. But again, you get all Sanwa parts. But let's see what they did when they moved on to the Hori Real Arcade Pro 3. All right, so now we have the Hori Real Arcade Pro 3 SA, or Special Edition. Again, that means it's coming with all Sanwa parts. Now they did have a regular edition of this, but again, if I really recommend going for the Special Edition. There is a Special Edition, which actually looks exactly like this. This is not actually the way that the Sanwa edition, which is the SA, comes stock. It originally comes with all white Sanwa buttons and Sanwa ball top. But I actually really like the way that the Special Edition looks, so I did that kind of buttons and joystick, which I think looks really great with the black and red. You can change anything about these sticks. They have all the same stuff, so I liked the SE style buttons, but I got the SA style stick. It's basically exactly the same thing, same mounts, same everything. So I changed out the buttons to look like the SE edition. One of the other mods I did was I actually swapped out all the original buttons on the top here for new ones, because the board that this originally comes with is kind of a pain in the ass to modify to a new PCB. Now, I took out the original PS3 PCB in this guy and swapped it out for a universal fight board. And I wanted, obviously, to have my turbo buttons, my L3, R3, and your home button. I wanted all those to be in the original places. Now, I will say that when you do this mod, I had to, widen those buttonholes, and this plastic piece here is not exactly the most durable. So you gotta be very careful when you drill these things out to make them a little wider, put new buttons in there. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the 360 version. So here's the 360 version. This is the EXSE edition. This one had a white body style. Now this obviously is modified with a new top plate, and this is what I was talking about that you could get for any of your Hori Real Arcade Pros. This is an all chrome top plate that I got from Arts Hobbies Tech Innovations. I've modified this thing with a universal fight board, put a new trick in here, and I also swapped out the home button that it originally had, which actually was an X for the Xbox, and I just didn't want to really brand it that way, so I just basically was able to find a button on Amazon that fits this gap that when I took out the home button. it created, and I threw it in there to kind of match all the white. Now there is a regular EX as well as an SA, and both of those have universal mounting plates. There's also some game license versions. But this SE edition comes with all Seimitsu parts, my favorite kind of Seimitsu buttons, and an LS32 stock. All right, so here's the inside of the EX SE edition. You can see here the universal mounting bracket that I'm talking about, where you can mount your screws on all four sides so you can orient your joystick vertically or horizontally. So pretty much any joystick you can think of will fit in this thing. So you would mount it like this for the LS32 with 4 screws, but if you wanted to put, say a Sanwa JLF or an LS56 or something like that, you would mount it here and here vertically. And that's why I strongly suggest it, because you can put whatever stick in you want, it fits perfectly. These are standard 30mm button holes, so it makes it very easy. And most of these are always gonna come with quick disconnects. All of the ones that you see here all come with quick disconnects, so you don't have to deal with desoldering a PCB or anything like that. As you can see here, I have a universal fight board, and there's plenty of room in this guy to put anything you want. I have the 20-pin wiring harness on there. Here's that cutout I'm talking about, and they didn't even change this. I mean, when they originally mounted the turbo switches, it was exactly the same mount. They just simply took out this insert and just started changing them out for different things. Obviously, this is the EX SE, so it came with that Xbox home button that eventually I just changed out with a different button. Makes it really, really easy. All right, so now we're gonna open up an SA edition. This is the Hori Real Arcade Pro 1 SA edition. Obviously I used the original wiring here. Not the cleanest right now, but it works. And again, it's really nice that you have quick disconnects on the special edition version. These obviously come with Sanwa button stock. I changed them out for a different color. You do get a Sanwa JLF stock. And here's something important to notice, because this is what I'm talking about. Here's a better look at the most common limited mounting bracket. As you can see, it has a vertical design, so you would either mount your Sanwa JLF bare with no plate, or you could use a plate and use those 4 different screw corners. And you can do the same thing with some Seimitsu joysticks that mount in a similar way, say an LS55 or 56. All right guys, so that was the Hori Real Arcade Pro series of the original body style. I think it's important to note there were so many other variants than these, many other variants that are also very good. You're likely to find one pretty easily out in the wild, like Craigslist and certainly eBay, and if you're patient, you can probably get one for a good price. You won't regret it, because these things were popular and still are popular for a good reason. And you know what? There's so many other arcade sticks out there, so many legendary cool sticks, so check out our other videos, and I'll see you next time.